Hi girls, we're up here in the loft of my house. Try to get this thing out of the screen. And we're going to do a couple problems on Desmos. These, I'll show you where this is in your book in a minute. But we're just going to graph some lines that are of the form y equals mx plus b. That's what we're going to do today. So I just want you to watch me for a minute. I want you to watch y equals 2x plus 1. There's the line there, Drew. And I can see that it goes through the y-axis at 1, and that's what that 1 is there. We already know that the gradient is up 2 over 1, so we can see that. And the gradient is sitting right there. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do y equals negative 2x minus 2. Okay, so now, same, this is the gradient here. It's the number, the coefficient of the x, or the number that's being multiplied by x. So this is going downhill, and we talked about that with our gradient in our zoom. And the negative 2 is where it goes through the y-axis. So I might do one more. Let's make one with a kind of not a very steep slope. Maybe something that goes through 2. So y equals 1/3, better scooch out, x. You can see it goes through 0 right now because I haven't added anything on yet. So when there's nothing there and it's just y equals a number times x, those are those lines that only have one intercept and they go through 0, 0. But I said I wanted it to go through 2, so I'm just going to put plus 2. And so that just scooches it straight up. You could see it again. When I have nothing there, there's the line. And then when I add 2, it's got the same gradient, so it's the same slope, so it just scooches it up by 2. What if I wanted to move it down by 2, but still be parallel to that green line? And I could do y equals 1/3 x, x minus 2. So it's parallel to this line because they have that same rise over run, and I can see it's 1/3, up 2 over 6, up 2 over 6, that's 1/3. So I can see all that. Okay, now let's go back to our camera and write some stuff down on our note sheet. So here's my note sheet. It's a bit tricky here because I'm trying to, I might pause for 1 second. I've got my note sheet up now, and this equation of this line, it has a y and an x in it, and this m is what we know m to be. It's the gradient. And the c, along with its sign, is where it goes through the y-axis. So we call it the y-intercept. So that's how I get that name for that line. So we did a couple things on Desmos. I'm just going to quick jot them down. We did equations that had a negative gradient. I think this one was y equals negative 2x plus 1, something like that. And then we did something with a positive gradient. I can't really remember what it was, girls, so forgive me if I write something different. Maybe it went through negative 1 down here, but it went up. Okay. So maybe it was y equals 2x minus 1. So positive gradient going uphill from left to right, negative gradient going downhill from left to right. And we saw that we could move these lines around, make new parallel lines by just changing this intercept. Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to use this in our work. So, writing an equation from a graph. So let me put a graph on here. I'll just willy-nilly pick anything. That'll be my first one. We'll do a couple. Okay, so this will be my first one. It'll be number 1, we'll call it. And the first thing that I always do is I try to find the gradient. And so I draw my little triangle like I did the other day. I might use a pencil for this so that it doesn't look so torn up on the graph here. And when I use that, I can see that I've gone up 5 over 3. So my gradient is up 5 over 3. So everything positive, up and right, always positive. And then my y-intercept, which I call c, is wherever it goes through the y-axis. So that's 5 in this case. And then I write the equation. And the equation is y equals mx plus c. It's of that form, the gradient intercept form. So I write y equals 5/3 x plus 5. Okay, let's try one more. Maybe I'll go through -2 and should I be kind of mean? Why not? Let's go from up here, this point. Look at a nice steep negative line. Okay, so we'll call that number 2, line number 2. And the first thing I'm going to do is find the gradient. So I get to where the points are. I'll use red this time so you can see it. So I'm going to go down and to the right. Down from the point and to the right. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down 6. So the m is -6 over 1, 2, 3, -6 over 3. And it goes through the y-axis at -2. So my equation is of the form y equals mx plus c. That's the form I'm going to use. There are other forms. We'll learn those. And it's y equals, well, I'm not going to write -6 on 3. I'm going to write -2x minus 2. Okay, so I think that's not bad. I think you can get that. All right, let's go to graphing a line in gradient intercept form. All right, so let's say I give you the line y equals 3/5 x minus 2. Okay, then I go first to the c, to the -2, and I put a dot. So I graph this first. Okay, the y-intercept first. Then I move in this direction. Okay, I move. So from this intercept, I go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 2 movements that happen there. And I connect the dots with my line, put arrows on either end, and I'm done. Okay, that's it. I'll put some problems on your Canvas page. See ya.